Good afternoon. Yeah, I hope you have a nice weekend. Have you ever bought something and then it made you richer? Is there anything you bought that made you very rich? What was that? Good. For me, it was something different. I bought travel and it got me richer. Not in goods that you mentioned, but in wisdom, perspective, and connection. My name is Orngu. I'm a food scientist and a developmental worker. I would like a developmental worker. I want to tell you a story of three things I learned on a travel tour to Benin Republic. So let's go into it. It was my first trip to Benin Republic, to a francophone country, on a study tour in Shanghai farms. I left Lagos, Nigeria on the road trip to Seme border. I have never seen the kind of checkpoints. I could not even count them. There were so many security personnel in Nigeria. And when we got to Seme border, I got the first shock of my life after clearance by the immigration officials. My 20,000 naira was changed to just 8,000 sefa. I just could imagine how much of this could make me cope in Benin Republic with just 8,000 sefa. I had to double this amount. And then I got my first lesson. Economic diversity is real. The sefa is stronger than the naira. Years ago, my younger sister had a trip in Benin Republic. She exchanged just little naira and she got a lot of goods. But this was not the case for me. So I got my first lesson on economic diversity. On arrival in Shanghai farms, in Port Novo, Shanghai farms, I got another lesson. We got in there and we got settled into the hotel. And then the study tour, they to brief us that we are going to start our study tour the next day by 8 a.m. And then, as usual, as my culture would be, I woke up around 8, as quite early as possible. Got in there 10 minutes before time. But then I met the study tour guide already there waiting for us. But something interesting happened. My colleagues, being Nigerians as we are, came in 10 minutes. It was the longest 10 minutes I have witnessed in my life. The study tour guide was looking at me. I was so uncomfortable. My colleagues were 10 minutes late. And then I realized in other countries, punctuality is not just being polite, but a culture. He told me in Benin Republic, if you do this in Nigeria, we don't do it here. We keep to time. So I got my first lesson. Respecting time is very, very important. On the last day of the trip, we went for an excursion to Koko Beach in Cotonou. And on the road trip, I observed one thing. All riders on bikes had helmet on, and then they move on a dedicated lane. And then I realized one thing. There was no reckless maneuver whatsoever. The ride was very smooth. And then I had a reflection. In Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria, you will see taxis trying to maneuver on Lagos-Ikorodu Expressway to meet up with time. But this was not the case in Benin Republic. And I got my third lesson. Discipline is very, very important. It shows harmony between structure and freedom. They had the freedom, but then they are disciplined to do that. So this was one of the takeaways I had from this trip. And on my return to Nigeria, I learned these three things in summary. Economic diversity is real. If you don't travel, you think that Nigeria is giant of Africa, but then I realized the giant of Africa was just crawling up to the safer. And then the second lesson I learned was on respecting other people's time is very important. Keep to time anytime necessary. And then finally, the last lesson for me was discipline. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed my story.